3, 2, 1. The following is from Yongming Yanshou's conception of Chan in the Zongjing Lu, and this is from a book written by Albert Welter. I'll give details in the description. I humbly submit that the fountain of truth, profound and tranquil, and the sea of enlightenment, clear and pure, eliminate the causes of name and form, and nullify the effects of subject and object, that is, dualism. At the very first moment we lack awareness, that is, are unenlightened, we inevitably give rise to an agitated, that is, a deluded mind. It, that is, the agitated mind, constitutes the basis for karmic consciousness and forms stains on our enlightened brilliance, that is, our true nature. Because our enlightened brilliance gives rise to the power of illumination, we observe a world of particulars suddenly arising. Through the power of illumination, the world of illusory objects is affirmed. Forms are distributed in a peaceful array, like images appearing in a mirror. Suddenly, physical bodies with sense organs materialize. Next, through our mental conceptions, we create distinctions regarding the external world. Finally, even though our nature is founded on wisdom, differences occur in our emotional state. As a result of this, we abandon the truth and deny our enlightened nature. We grasp forms as if they were real and depend on names as if they were meaningful. We accumulate attachments to the sense organs and illusory objects and identify with the ongoing waves of our consciousness. Having confined true enlightenment to a nocturnal dream, we are deeply infatuated with life in the triple realm of desire, form, and formlessness. Having rendered the wisdom eye blind on a dark path, we crawl on hands and knees for a place among the 9 destinies human beings aspire to. Inevitably doomed to suffer the fate of our karmic destiny, we cry out for some way of release. We accept the notion of a self, when, in truth, there is no such thing. We create an ultimate destination, when in reality there is no such thing. When summarizing the circumstances living beings inhabit, they are divided into 25 abodes. When discussing the direct recompense one receives from one's previous karma, it is covered by the 12 types of living beings. In all cases, it is as a result of emotions, mental conceptions, and sense faculties that differences in dependent and direct karmic rewards are encountered. With no inclination to change the external circumstances we encounter, we are hopelessly subjected to the process of transmigration. Trapped in phenomenal existence, we produce our own web of constraints. We are like caterpillars in spring, making cocoons. Like moths in autumn, alighting on burning lamps. By falsely conceptualizing the intricate pattern of existence in terms of either of the 2 extreme views as real or unreal, we prolong our karmic disposition towards suffering in various ways. We use the wings of ignorance, desire, and passion to fan the fiery wheel of birth and death. We use the sounds of words like echoes through a canyon to debate the beauty or ugliness of beings born according to the 4 types as if such distinctions were important. On the basis of false conceptions, the mind mirror manifests the regulated patterns of the triple realm. In the end, whether we resist or succumb to influences deriving from these conceptions, we cause turmoil in the sea of enlightenment. The waters of desire, stupidity, and passion provide nourishment for the budding seeds of suffering. Completely overwhelmed by illusory objects, we do not know how to return to the root, that is, to our original enlightened nature. We conceive perverse chaotic views that obscure the truth inherent in our own minds. We create phantom, illusory appearances and sounds, perceiving them as phenomena other than ourselves. As a result of this, each minute particle encountered in the external world gradually forms a high peak piercing the Milky Way that is the greatest of obstacles. Drops of water form waves, ultimately developing into tidal waves that engulf the boat supporting us. After such tragic experiences, we form the desire to go back to the beginning and restore the root. Generally speaking, people's mental capacities range between sharp and dull, and are not the same. Situated in the realm where everything exists in the state of true suchness, the Buddha revealed 3 vehicles for 5 types of endowments. Some realized enlightenment through seeing the emptiness of phenomenal existence. Some accessed truth by understanding the conditioned nature of existence. Some gradually assimilated the methods of practice through an infusion of training methods over a period of 3 eons. Some attained Buddhahood suddenly through the perfect cultivation of a single thought. In this manner, there were different ways to achieve victorious realization, that is, enlightenment. The originally endowed pure nature was not destroyed. According to causal conditions that form us, we assume a reputation as either an ordinary person or a sage. According to appearances that distinguish us, we assume the guise of either a monk or a householder. If you desire to investigate exhaustively and penetrate the root, and are ultimately led to the all-pervasive implicit truth, the original nature you have been endowed with will show itself distinctly, and you will ultimately experience tranquil extinction. By eliminating the different ways of rising and falling in the process of transmigration, and nullifying the distinction between bondage and liberation, that is, samsara and nirvana, you will become someone who is no longer bound by this world and achieve indestructible realization. The 2 realms, samsara and nirvana, will be the same. The one true path of Buddhist practice will be pure and void. Consciousness and wisdom will both be empty. Names, by their essential nature, will all be tranquil, corresponding as they do to that which is devoid of substantial existence. There is one universal true mind. People who understand it call it the way for seeing the truth. Beginners who are confused about it refer to it as the realm of birth and death. They, moreover, maintain roots of depravity and seeds of heterodoxy, and have limited wisdom and varying capacities. They do not understand the cause for the illness of birth and death, and do not know the basis for the view of a permanent self. They only want to vehemently reject and actively criticize, destroy phenomenal forms, and cut off sense objects. Even though they speak of tasting silence and profound emptiness, they do not know that their words bury the truth and oppose awakening. It is as if they fail to recognize a red film causing them to see flames existing within their own eyes, and simply extinguish the light produced from the lamp. That is, they destroy the object, but not the cause. Unaware that the illusory physical bodies arise from within consciousness, they vainly shun the imaginary images cast by the sun. In this way, they wear out their bodies and enslave their minds. They exhaust their energy and reject the possibility of gaining merit. It is no different from increasing the amount of ice by adding water, or increasing the flames by throwing firewood on the fire. How can they ever understand that the reflected light from the lamp is the film that exists in their own eyes, or that the imaginary images cast by the sun depend on the physical bodies arising from their own consciousness? Eliminate the ailment in the eye, and the reflected light from the lamp will vanish of itself. Put an end to the illusory substances of consciousness, and imaginary images will naturally disappear. If you are able to reflect the light back on its source, they, that is, the diseased eye and illusory substances, will cease. Reflect on the objects of the external realm and contemplate them with the mind. When the Buddha eye illuminates them, karmically produced images are empty. When the Dharma body is revealed, the traces of illusory objects disappear. Use the sword of wisdom emanating from self-awakening to rip open the mind pearl that has been tightly concealed within. Use the spear of insight emanating from a single thought to sever the web of views formed in connection with the illusory objects of the external realm. In this record, I inquire exhaustively into the meaning of mind and investigate the explanations for consciousness. Generally speaking, there are an abundance of interpretations revealing a depth of style, substance, and reasoning. These interpretations lift away the barrier of uncertainty to the door of correct wisdom and chop off the weeds of falsehood in the field of true enlightenment. To initiate a cure for a chronic disease of the marrow, eliminate the delight taken in clinging to the organs of sense. Then, external objects and the self will meet the flames of the wisdom fire and will be fused together in the cauldron of mind only. The objectified realm of name and form will face the rays of the wisdom sun and will be released into the sea of universal truth. Since this is, in point of fact, a teaching for inner realization, how can it be explained through textual explanations? The knowledge it unleashes has no limit. What we see and hear through the senses does not reach it. Now, for the sake of those who have not yet seen this, I explain the wondrous seeing of no seeing. For those who have not yet heard it, I introduce the perfect hearing of no hearing. For those who do not yet know it, I talk about the true knowing of not knowing. And for those who are not yet liberated, I confirm the great liberation of non-liberation. What I hope is that through the finger you will see the moon. After catching the hare, you will forget the snare. Embrace the universal and unite with the implicit truth, or Zong. Discard the explanations and seek the principle inherent in them. Understand that the myriad things depend on the self for their existence, and realize that wondrous enlightenment exists in one's physical body. It can be described as searching out the deep root of one's existence, as excavating the cave of principle, as picking out the marrow from the bones in the Chan lineages, and as revealing the regulations and guidelines in the network of doctrinal teachings. To eliminate confusion and erase the stains of one's karma, perfect purity is ready at hand. The wondrous doctrines of the profound implicit truth of Buddhism advance the notion of seeing of no seeing, hearing of no hearing, knowing of non-knowing, and liberation of non-liberation, and make them perfectly clear. With them, you can wear down the mountain built by the 7 kinds of arrogance, and bury forever the path based on the 6 kinds of weaknesses. Non-Buddhist teachings on striving after the pleasures of this world consistently miss the point. When the effects that Mara's army has over birth and death are completely eliminated, you will manifest the power of spontaneous freedom and emit rays of great majesty. You will reveal the true pearl that is one's true self-nature, whose benefits and uses are inexhaustible. Relying completely on this secret repository, you will rescue all, however destitute.